It might not seem it from up here, but on this small island north of the Scottish mainland, something is brewing. Sometimes life here is characterised by the chatter of seabirds and the crashing of waves, but not today. Welcome to Alcery, an island with a population of 1. A place where the ebb and flow of nature's rhythm is combined and balanced with the annual cycle of work that has to be done to sustain a life in such a remote place. At the heart of this community are a flock of seaweed-eating sheep, a rare breed known as Rollies. My parents have worked for nearly half a century to build this farm from nothing, but due to advancing age and ill health, their time is nearly up on this beautiful place, and that's maybe where you come in. My name is Hamish, and this is On to Other News. So today's job is to gather the sheep from the inside of the island onto the outside. So there's a fence that goes all the way around the outside of the island to be able to manage their access to seaweed as well as to the grass on the inner of the island. But we need to get them all in over the next day in order to shear them. So what we need to do is push them all through a gate just on the far side of the island. So Mum and Jamie are on the quad bike, me and Faye are walking, and we'll sort of sweep them in and hopefully they'll go where they're told to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Nice.
Take off.
During my childhood, before we all had mobile phones, the only technology used during sheep gathering was a set of walkie-talkies,
And which gate are we actually pushing them out of?
allowing Mum and Dad to give instructions and allowing my brothers and I to say things like "Roger that" over to each other like we were part of some kind of military operation. Flying a drone not only provides a significantly better visual perspective than my chest-mounted camera, the tide is out, so they're enjoying the weed, but it also helps to see where the sheep are hiding as we try to move them.
Gathering sheep has been the one thing that I don't know anyone who's come to the island hasn't enjoyed.
I thought we'd lost that. That was good work. That's only the beginning though.
I remember once with my brother when he was here, I sent one of the dogs out to move the sheep. We were gathering them and then I sent one of the dogs out. I was really proud of having trained this dog and he went out and did the job. My brother was quite cross with me because he was enjoying doing it himself. Everybody always loves doing the sheep work. It's a real pleasure watching someone who's maybe a little bit anti kind of getting down and dirty with the sheep. You know, you give them a pair of gloves and a boiler suit and a pair of wellies, send them out into the field, and before long they can't wait to get their hands round a lamb and have a cuddle and, you know, move a few sheep about and feel that they're doing it. It's basic human endeavour. Part of our psyche is to husband animals and care for them and use them to our own ends too, but in a symbiotic way. That's one of the human characteristics.
Thanks. Whoa, that is a chunky. No, that is obscene.
We'll half it.
I was just being ballsy. But we're now having a quick snack with some homemade flapjacks while we wait for the tide to come further in. Our breed of sheep, called North Ronaldsays, eat seaweed naturally and live out on the ebb grazing. So they know the rocks at low tide incredibly well, and when it comes to gathering them, they can sense when space is on their side. So if the tide is low, they will just run right past you. Alcery is home to some incredible landscapes, and many of the best ones are revealed from the air. This area is known as the Lowther, and it's perhaps the most rugged part of the island. There is nothing between this point and the coast of Norway. So the storms of the winter months bash this part of the coast, driving huge slabs of stone to the top of the beach, under which create great homes for puffins and other ground nesting birds. As you can see, the tide is a lot further in now, and as it's still coming in, we have one of nature's great forces on our side as we try to gather these sheep. The sheep pens are on the opposite side of the island though to where we are, so there's still a lot that can go wrong. The quad bike is a relatively new addition. Dad would never have entertained the idea, as it would just have been another engine to look after. But then his knee started to fail him, and with money from the sale of our old petrol paraffin Fergie tractor, they bought the bike. It's very useful for sheep gathering, but it can't go low down on the beach, which is where the sheep will go if they want to run back past you. I love running along the stones, but running and flying today is not the easiest. However frustrating sheep can be sometimes, I will miss terribly these days out in the sunshine working as a team to gather them, and so will my mum.
I want to hand the baton on to somebody, and ideally it would be a couple or a family even that, as Simon and I did, would love the place, care for the place, maintain and improve the buildings and the situation. There's Wi-Fi here, so very good Wi-Fi here, so it's a completely different ball game from when we came here. Somebody could be working from home here very easily. There's less fishing boats around, but the boats that do come here are faster. It would be great if people who are keen to come, maybe for a year or a summer or a couple of years, and look after the buildings, the archaeology, possibly the sheep, and just love the place and enjoy it. That's what I would like, is to find other people who would take it on for a bit. I'm not wanting to lose all connection with the island. I want to still be in touch with it at the moment, but I would love to take a back seat and let someone else take the responsibility for caring for it and enjoy it.
There are so many places on this farm that I just absolutely adore. So many places that I spent in my childhood, on the coast, you know, at the fishing spot where we caught fish to eat and for bait and our creels, the low tide where you could explore a whole different world and also put out creels to catch lobsters and crabs and things like that.
Okay, tiny little bit. Ah!
There are so many places that I love here, but this spot on the very top of the West Hill, where you can see sea all around, doesn't matter which direction you look in, whether it's in the south end where the lighthouse is, over in this direction where across the vast expanse of the North Sea, the Norwegian coast lay far beyond, or our house at the far north end. It's just incredible to be able to see sea all around you, to be able to have this complete space, the sense about how small where your home is, but then also the connection it also has with the other Orkney Islands and how you can see where the boats are coming from and all those kind of things. There's something just immensely special, and sometimes I just stand up here and just think how immensely lucky I've been to grow up here. And also, if truth be told, how immensely sad I'll be when it's no longer the home that it's always been, when it's no longer the farm, now it's no longer my dad's home. Soon it won't be my mum's home either, and that is hard to accept because I love it here. I really, absolutely love it. Advance, advance! Sometimes sheep will all dutifully go in the correct gate without fuss. Other times you can be there for what feels like an eternity trying to push them in the right direction. I've learned patience over the years, patience I certainly didn't always have as a young teenager here. After gathering these sheep off the centre of the island, then from the seaside edge, we've moved them all the way to the far end where the lighthouse stands.
We've nearly got them into the pens now to sort them and then get the clipping or shearing done. These lambs don't know the gates as well as their mothers, of course, so sometimes they take a more scenic route. But at least my cousin Jamie, who's here with his wife Marika, gets a cuddle while catching the other tearaway. All the while, the fulmar that nests in the ruined pig house built by the lighthouse keepers keeps watch on our activities. If you're wondering why we don't have sheepdogs, well, out here it would be another mouth to feed, something to train and look after, and ultimately our breed of sheep are not that interested by dogs, so it might not even work that well. After all the effort of gathering them, we finally have the sheep in our control at the pens. These pens were built by my dad, alongside my late uncle Sean and his wife Catherine, all by hand back in 1976, approaching 50 years ago. And though they show signs of weathering, they've more than stood the test of time. We now sort the sheep pen by pen to allow us to take the fleeces from the ewes. These are then sent to the UK mainland to be scoured or cleaned and then spun into knitting wool and other related products. Check out my mum's website if you're interested, the link is in the description. You'll also find details there about the opportunity for someone to potentially come and live and work on Alcery, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have in the comments. If you're enjoying this video, please press the like button below. I haven't posted anything for a while, and I'm so touched by the many comments and emails from you asking how my parents are getting on and checking in with me. I bought my first house last year and it needs a lot of work, so I just haven't had time to edit the footage I filmed in 2024. But there's so much more fun and adventure to bring you, so please do subscribe and keep a lookout for future videos.
How have you found your day?
I found my day very fun, very tiring. I like the fact that they are clearly very intelligent and they're all unique, whether that be their faces or their fleeces, but also how they act. And each sheep is kind of a different challenge, I guess.
You're a seasoned pro. Does it feel like that?
No. I think it takes you a few days to get your eye in again, but I do think, I mean, I'm also older now. Like when I first came here, I was what, 20, 19? And now I'm nearly 30. And I think there's a certain confidence that you just get with being a bit older anyway. And also there's new stuff, like the quad, for example, has revolutionized gathering. I used to absolutely dread gathering because partly because I just felt so out of control, and also I didn't know what any of the fields were called. You'd mention gates and all this kind of thing, and I'd be like, well, what on earth is going on? And then they'd like run past me and I'd do a bit of arm waving and be like, oh God, they're just running at me. Whereas now it's like a totally different ball game, not just with the quad, but also just with like me as a person. I'm more than happy to kind of wave my arms and run and shout at them, which is not something that I would do in real life. Like there's no way that I would run and shout and wave my arms at anything in Cardiff. Whereas here it's just kind of, there's no inhibitions really. And also you can't look stupid because it's a sheep, you know.
Do you reckon you'll miss coming here?
I will miss coming here. I will miss how I feel here, I guess. And the kind of, yeah, I'll miss how I feel coming here. I think I'll miss seeing you here as well and how much you love it. I'll miss the movement. I think that's my favourite thing about Alcery, how there's just, everywhere you look there's movement. And I find living in a city very static, and very claustrophobic in a lot of ways.
It's the first time for me I've ever done a day of sheep work without my dad present. He lived here for 49 years, looking after the buildings, the fences, cutting peat, curing sheepskins, and enjoying every single sunset's quirks in forensic detail. This summer, 2024, is the first time he's not been here. Sadly, his Parkinson's and dementia mean he's no longer able to make the journey or live in this remote place safely, so he's now looked after on the biggest island in Orkney, known here as the mainland.
It was very poignant coming into the workshop before we'd even walked into the house and seeing his shoes. And actually it was the first thing I did was to get rid of them because I couldn't bear the thought that he wasn't going to be wearing them again. Out here, it's been very, very hard being here without him. Just his not being here, even though he wasn't contributing much last year, certainly to the end, he was here, he was around. It does feel weird without him being here. It's a massive difference, but I think it feels like a bigger difference because I remember more clearly what it was like when he was here fully and we were discussing everything and working as a team, whereas last year, of course, I had the reality staring me in the face.
250 years since this room was built. Dad's sat in it for most of every year for the last 49 years, and now he's no longer in it anymore.
Yeah, and I think the longer this year has gone on, particularly, the more I have realised that although we've been here for half a century, which is a tiny drop in the ocean, historically speaking, but it's a sizable chunk when you think this house feels very old, but we've been here for the fifth of the time it's been here, for example. We have to see it much more, not as a sadness that we're leaving, but more as that we've created something that made it possible for us to be here, to farm it, to enjoy it, to share in the nature of the place, the environment, the rhythm of things out here. And we've done our time. It's time to pass the baton on. And I don't feel sad really, particularly about him not coming back here anymore, because I don't think he talks a lot about thinking that he is here, which is great in his head, but he doesn't talk about wishing he was here. If he did, that would be very, very hard.
Yeah, I'm getting cold. I want to get home.
I do find it hard not to feel sad about the changes to our lives, and it can be difficult to accept the end of what I've always known. But alongside my brothers, my family all just want to see someone else get to experience the joy, the exhilaration and meaning of living and working here. Just being here is an experience few forget, but really spending time getting in sync with the rhythm of life here, the satisfaction of turning the annual wool growth on our special sheep to beautiful, long-lasting and unique products is hard to match whenever I leave this place. So if you think living and working here might be for you, do get in touch via the link in the description. And if you want to learn more about the island and life here, you might enjoy this video. Until the next time, thanks for watching. Cheerio.